At just 20 years old, he became king. By 30, he ruled more land than anyone in history. He defeated the world's largest empire, never lost a major battle, and marched his army across 3 continents. From a small kingdom called Macedonia, he rose to become Alexander the Great. But how did one young man conquer the world in only 13 years? And why did his empire collapse the moment he died? This is the untold story of the greatest conqueror in history. Macedonia before Alexander. Before Alexander, Macedonia was not a great power. It was considered rough, unstable, and inferior by the powerful Greek city-states like Athens and Sparta. But everything changed under one man, King Philip II. Philip was Alexander's father and the true architect of Macedonia's rise. After taking the throne in 359 BC, Philip transformed Macedonia into a military superpower. He created a professional standing army, the powerful Macedonian phalanx, the deadly sarissa spear, over 18 feet long, advanced siege weapons, and a unified political system. Philip also used diplomacy, marriages, and alliances to dominate Greece. By 338 BC, after defeating Athens and Thebes at the Battle of Chaeronea, Philip became master of Greece. His next goal was clear, to invade the Persian Empire, but he would never live to see it. In 336 BC, Philip was assassinated, and his 20-year-old son became king. The making of a conqueror, Alexander, was born in 356 BC. From childhood, he was trained for greatness. His mother, Olympias, told him he was descended from Achilles and even Zeus himself. His father trained him in war and leadership, and his tutor was one of the greatest minds in history, Aristotle. Aristotle taught Alexander philosophy, science, politics, and literature. But Alexander was not only intelligent, he was fearless. At age 16, he commanded troops in battle. At 18, he fought beside his father at Chaeronea. By 20, he was king. But many believed he was too young to rule. They were wrong. The moment Philip died, rebellion spread. Greek cities revolted. Northern tribes attacked. Alexander responded with speed and brutality. He crushed his enemies one by one. Then he marched south. When the city of Thebes rebelled, Alexander destroyed it completely. Thousands were killed. Survivors were sold into slavery. The message was clear. Resistance meant destruction. Greece submitted. Alexander now turned east, toward Persia. Invading the Persian Empire in 334 BC, Alexander crossed into Asia with about 40,000 men. He faced the greatest empire on earth, the Persian Empire. It stretched from Turkey to India. Its king was Darius III. Most believed Alexander was committing suicide, but he trusted in his army and his genius. Alexander's first major victory came at the river Granicus. He personally led the charge. He nearly died, but Persia's army was defeated. Asia Minor fell. At Issus, Alexander faced Darius himself. Despite being outnumbered, Alexander attacked directly. Darius fled the battlefield. Persia's king had run from a 23-year-old Macedonian. The island city of Tyre refused to surrender. Alexander built a massive causeway into the sea. After 7 months, Tyre fell. It was one of the greatest siege operations in ancient history. Egypt and the divine king. After conquering the eastern Mediterranean, Alexander entered Egypt. The Egyptians welcomed him as a liberator from Persian rule. They crowned him pharaoh. He founded a new city, Alexandria. It would become one of the greatest centers of learning in history. Alexander then traveled into the desert to the oracle of Siwa. There, priests reportedly declared him the son of Zeus. From this moment on, Alexander increasingly saw himself as divine. Destroying Persia in 331 BC, Alexander met Darius again at the Battle of Gaugamela. This was the decisive battle of the ancient world. Darius had hundreds of thousands of troops, war elephants, scythed chariots. Alexander had discipline, strategy, and speed. He formed his army into a flexible formation. Then he struck directly at Darius. Once again, Darius fled. Persia collapsed. Alexander entered. Babylon, Susa, Persepolis. Persepolis, the Persian capital, was burned. Some say it was revenge. Others say it was drunken madness. Either way, Persia was finished. Building a world empire, Alexander was now ruler of Asia, but he did not rule like previous conquerors. He blended cultures. He adopted Persian clothing, used Persian officials, encouraged mixed marriages. He married Persian nobility. He trained Persian soldiers. He wanted a unified empire, Greek and Asian together. Many Macedonians hated this. They felt betrayed. Tension grew. Some officers plotted against him. Alexander responded harshly, even killing close friends. Power was changing him. Alexander was still not satisfied. He marched east into Central Asia and India. He crossed deserts, mountains, and rivers. His army suffered terribly. In 326 BC, he fought King Paris at the Battle of Hydaspes. It was his hardest battle. Paris fought with war elephants. Alexander won, but at great cost. When he demanded to march further east, his soldiers refused. They were exhausted, homesick. Broken for the first time, Alexander turned back. Death in Babylon. In 323 BC, in Babylon, Alexander fell ill. After days of fever, he could no longer speak. When asked who should inherit his empire, he supposedly whispered, "To the strongest." At just 32 years old, Alexander the Great was dead. No clear heir. No succession plan. Only chaos. Without Alexander, unity collapsed. His generals, the Diadochi, fought each other for decades. The empire split into kingdoms: Ptolemaic Egypt, Seleucid Asia, and Tigonid Macedonia. Alexander's empire was gone, but his influence remained. A legacy that shaped the world. Alexander spread Greek culture across 3 continents. This created the Hellenistic world. Greek language, science, art, and philosophy spread from Greece to India. Cities, roads, trade networks, and libraries flourished. His campaigns connected civilizations that had never met before. He inspired Roman emperors, medieval kings, modern generals. More than 2,000 years later, we still speak his name. Alexander was not just a conqueror. He was a visionary, a warrior, a strategist, a dreamer. In 13 years, he built an empire that reshaped civilization, from Macedonia to India, from boy king to legend. This is how Alexander the Great built the world's largest empire. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. More epic stories are coming soon. Thanks for watching.